But anyways, let's move into the second segment. We're going to be talking 11 through 20. If you're joining us on YouTube, don't forget to check out the 1 through 10. That was a whole hour of goodness over there. This is our 4.0. We got 2 more mocks coming out after this. We got our 5.0 after the draft lottery is set. We'll be doing a lotto only. Then we'll be doing our 6th and final one, I think a week before the NBA draft. But let's finish up the 4.0. 11 through 10. Ricky Widmer, take it through. Take us through yours.
Starting out with the Hornets, it's weird. They're first time out of the top 10 in our mock draft. Got them going with Miles Bridges, the forward from Michigan State. Then the Clippers, one of their 2 picks, this is via the Pistons, taking Colin Sexton, point guard from Alabama. Then the next pick, they take Mitchell Robinson. He's had a huge jump in mind. They take the center from high school, well, not college. Then Lonnie Walker to the Nuggets, the guard from Miami of Florida. Robert Williams going to the Wizards at 15. One of my favorite point guards in this draft, Gilgeous-Alexander, point guard from Kentucky, going to the Suns. Then the Suns take Zana Musa from overseas. Kyrie Thomas going to the Spurs. Hawks then taking Anthony Simmons. And then Zaire Smith, who Dave just talked about in the first segment, finishing out, going to the Indianapolis Pacers.
Big Duck.
Indianapolis, because that's where they play.
I do. The Bankers Fieldhouse.
That was painful. That was a painful stare down.
You just looked at me like, why did you say it
Well,
that
I
way?
was ready to go to Dave, and you're like finishing Indianapolis Pacers.
Indianapolis.
David Oster, take us through your 11 through 20.
All right, I got the Hornets going with Colin Sexton at 11. The Clippers going to take Mohamed Bamba finally at 12. Finally. The Clippers' second pick, they're going to go after Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. At 14, the Nuggets are going to take Kevin Knox. 15, Robert Williams going to the Wizards. 16, with the Suns' first pick, they're going to take Mitchell Robinson. 17, they are going to take Jonte Porter. At 18, I've got the Spurs going with Zana Musa. At number 19, I've got the Hawks taking Anthony Simmons. And 20, the Pacers from Indianapolis taking Keita Bates-Diop.
All right, my 11 through 20. Hornets going with Colin Sexton. 12, the Clippers going with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 13, the Clippers going with Kevin Knox. 14, the Nuggets going with Zana Musa. 15, the Wizards going with Robert Williams. 16, the Suns going with Jonte Porter. 17, the Suns going with Aaron Holiday. 18, the Spurs going with Anthony Simmons. 19, the Hawks going with Zaire Smith. And number 20, the Pacers going with Melvin Frazier from Tulane, making his debut on our mock drafts. The biggest thing I want to talk about, I know this wasn't highlighted, we're going off script here. Dave, I just realized
I've got 3 bigs.
No, you have the Clippers going with Mo Bamba and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yes.
That is a monster A++ draft for the Clippers. That's insane right there.
Yeah. I mean, if you get the value of getting Mohamed Bamba at 12, take it. By all means, he is your DeAndre Jordan. Mm-hmm. Done. Great. You're awesome. But guess what? We got Bamba coming in. Like, that's just the perfect way to continue your defensive big down low. And then you've got your point guard of the future there. I mean, you've already got scoring from other guys in that team. So I just think that 2 young players with massive upsides. Shai really climbed the boards late in the year. His performance in the tournament was spectacular. I think that just those 2 pairing would be ideal for this Clippers team moving forward.
Yeah, he isn't a great shooter, but I mean everything else is there for the kid. He's got wingspan, he's got defensive abilities. I mean, he just looks like an absolute monster. And those 2 seem like a disgusting pair. But let's jump into the teams that we want to talk about. We haven't talked a lot about the Nuggets, the Spurs, and the Pacers. So let's talk about that 14th pick. I had him going with Zana Musa, the international forward. Ricky, you had him going with Lonnie Walker, the guard. And then Dave, you had him with Kevin Knox. So that's a big fall for Kevin Knox. Let's jump over with that. Really like the fit for Kevin Knox, but I mean, that's a big fall for Kevin Knox, 14.
Well, it's very hit or miss because it depends on how much you believe in Kevin Knox. What you saw at Kentucky, do you feel like he was properly utilized? Do you think like he should be a guy who needs to be the point of the team? Like he needs to be the guy on a team, or is he more of a role player? What we saw a lot of the time at Kentucky was him sliding out of the spotlight. And I think that could work for this Nuggets team in their advantage because they're getting a guy with the athletics to play small forward. They're getting a guy with a shot that looks pretty good. I think the potential is there, but there's a reason he's not a top 10 pick in my mind. That's because he hasn't proved it yet. He hasn't proved to anybody that this guy should be a top 10 pick. I think that what you're getting here is value based off of potential, and absolutely nothing's been proven in my mind.
And Ricky, you've known with Lonnie Walker, kind of same build, guy that really didn't have a lot to prove. Bruce Brown goes out, he had to take over that Hurricanes team. Really raw kid, very athletic, so kind of same realm there.
Well, and that's why for me, it's almost the same realm. If I looked at this roster and I said, all right, they've got Jamal at the point guard. They kind of seem set there. They've got Gary Harris locked down. They've got Wilson Chandler at the 3. They've got 4s. They're not going to go there. Yeah, like Jokic is the center. He's locked down. They're not going to go to backup there. And for me, it's like, okay, what's the best player on the board? My best player available was Lonnie Walker. And because you already have guys set up, you can bring him in, develop him like you want. Because for me, it was either, and I know he was a little bit further down, for me, it was either Lonnie Walker or Kyrie Thomas. Which guard, forward do I want? And after looking at the stats, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go with a Lonnie. Although all the stats, field goal percentage, three-point percentage, foul line, was all in favor of Kyrie Thomas. And Kyrie Thomas might be a little bit or a lot of bit better defensively. The raw development of Lonnie Walker could mean his potential, that magic P word, is higher, and the Nuggets can take that stab and still be okay.
Well, and Kyrie Thomas, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think I am wrong by saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways. He's a sophomore, right? I think he was a sophomore, and he's
at Creighton.
Yeah,
he was 21, almost 22.
So he's older than Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker's
19.3.
Yeah, Lonnie Walker's a young kid. So I mean that's one thing that also is a thing. Kyrie Thomas might be more developed, but again, we're talking about potential.
He's a junior,
Yeah. So junior. Thank you. I knew he was a guy that was older. So that's one thing where I think that's a big thing. Kyrie Thomas has had more time to develop. He's also had more time to work with McDermott over at Creighton, where Lonnie Walker only had a year to work with Larinaga.
And let's be honest, this isn't just because their draft position would change also, but if the Nuggets would have made the playoffs, then a guy like Kyrie Thomas might have been able to work better because it's like, okay, we're a playoff team. We can have this guy come in now and help us, whereas it's like we're on the fringe. We can still take that guy that we can develop, and he can take a year to kind of develop into what we want.
I think Denver's just young. That's the thing with them.
Are you concerned at all? Like, do you think they have to go make a splash in free agency and get a small forward? Because right now, like, you're rolling on your hopes.
What big splash? Who's going to want to come to Denver? That's my question.
You need somebody.
George.
You need somebody because Wilson Chandler isn't
Is he
exactly
going to want to come to Denver?
the answer.
Hey.
I like Wilson Chandler. I'm just saying.
You're throwing out Will the Thrill Barton out of the window?
He's more of a 2, and let's be honest.
And
we don't
Gary
know about
Harris
his contract. We don't know about the contract.
Well, that's the reason why
he does come up at the end of this year.
That's the reason why I'm going Zana Musa.
Yeah, this guy.
Small forward scorer. Come on. I mean, this team doesn't play defense. So give him Zana Musa, who's a 6'8", 6'9", athletic freak who can, or not athletic freak, but
the opposite of that.
He's a good scorer. He's a pretty good driver. He's got a nice body, and he can shoot from the outside. So, I mean, that seems like a really nice pick for them. So Zana Musa fits pretty decently with the Nuggets.
So he's like a step ahead of the game age-wise from where Bojan was, but similar role right now.
Yeah, and
that's what you're looking at.
I think it's something that, again, Musa shown that he's a pretty decent driver. We called him Budget Luka, right? I think
did.
I think we mentioned that. No, I think we said something where he's like.
First time I'm hearing this.
I think
I don't remember
you
saying
you mentioned something. Okay, I'm not. Maybe he's not Budget.
I don't know.
Isaac Bonga. That's who it was. I'm mixing up our.
I'm like, I don't remember Budget Luka,
Yeah.
man. I feel like the comment section would have erupted.
No, it was Isaac Bonga. It was Isaac Bonga. It was much lower. What's his face? But I think you look at Zana Musa. Looks like a pretty good basketball player out there. He's got a really nice shot. So we'll go with Zana Musa there. Again, small forward could be something that, there's so many guys that can play wing. And I think they could sign someone that, can be a 3-and-D guy because they don't have any defenders on their team. But offensively, this team's ridiculous. So just get another offensive player.
Throwing gas in the fire.
Yeah, why not? Just be, was it the Timberwolves? Timberwolves can't play defense?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so, just be the Timberwolves. I mean,
it's weird to say that a Thibodeau team can't play defense, but they're not really good defensively.
There was one team last year that was like, I forget. Maybe it was the Rockets last year?
The Rockets last year were not amazing defense.
Yeah, so I forget what team it was. But anyways, let's move on to the Spurs at 18. It's weird seeing the Spurs this low, and that's why we're talking about them here. So the Spurs have an opportunity to pick someone that, maybe just a guy who fell out of the lottery a little bit, young player, could really develop into possibly the next star especially losing Kawhi Leonard. So let's talk about the development process, the guys that they should go after? Are they going after BPA? Are they going after position fit? Because this is still a team that made the playoffs. What's the idea here for the Spurs?
For me, I was just looking at it for what was on the board. Kyrie Thomas, he was a guy where it's like, you know what? This Spurs team, that being older, being a junior, will not affect the Spurs. They actually would prefer that, and they'll go ahead and take a guy who can be kind of like with Kyrie Thomas. It's not an exact comparison, but I'm almost thinking of him as budget Mikal Bridges, and the only reason I'm saying that is my Bulls in mind of like, okay, if we don't get Mikal at 6, could we have gotten Kyrie Thomas with our second pick? He's the one that I would want. That's why I'm thinking that in my head, and the Spurs can go ahead and take that 3-and-D guy that Kyrie Thomas can fit at the NBA level.
I'm just going easy. I'm going, it's the Spurs. They're going Euro, Zana Musa. I mean, come on, it's Pop. Come on. At the end of the day, I don't know why I keep saying come on, but Zana Musa, Sean, you said it. He can stroke the 3 from the outside. He can stretch defenses. Defensively, he's questionable, but we'll see what he can do at the NBA level. I think that he can come in a limited role and not be forced into something he's uncomfortable with, develop under the Spurs, and become one of those, again, one of the many role players who you see Pop just get the most out of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I got, obviously, Zanamusa's off my board, so I'm looking at a guy that you need to get the most out of. You got to get the most out of him. You're getting a young player in Anthony Simmons. Go get a young kid. I mean, he's a combo guard. You need someone who's going to be a scorer compared to DeJounte Murray, who, very raw player. Seems like he can be a very all-around player.
His go-to move is like the 4-foot floater.
Yeah.
I mean,
so Anthony could be a guy that could be a scorer in the NBA, and he's very young, very unpolished, very raw kid. So, working with him, you took that shot already with DeJounte Murray, and DeJounte Murray's paid off so far. Very young, raw kid coming out of Washington, DeJounte Murray. So go after, get another guard, and you can pair DeJounte Murray and Anthony Simmons in your backcourt. Be a pretty nice future 1-2 punch for the San Antonio Spurs, especially with the unknown of Kawhi Leonard. What's going to happen with them? Maybe they even move up in this draft, which would be something crazy if they're able to and think about trading.
If that Kawhi Leonard thing, who knows?
Again, we talked about the Cavs having that 8 spot. I think I'd probably take,
you calling a Kawhi
Leonard.
The Cavs?
I said that before.
Yeah,
Kawhi over Mo Bamba. I'd probably take Kawhi, for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think that's something that could definitely play into a factor here is what happens with Kawhi Leonard. But just looking at the Spurs, I think you need to go after potential. Who has more potential than the kid coming out of high school? And Anthony Simmons. You have pretty much the mold to pour into all the potential, all the Spurs
he's got
knowledge.
Good size, good speed. I think that he's got all the tools to be a quality NBA player. It just turns into what is he going to act like at the next level, because he's been dominating guys as a 5th-year senior. So we'll see what he can really do at this next level.
And let's move on to the final team, the Indiana Pacers, another playoff team here.
No, not the Indiana Pacers, Ricky.
The Indianapolis Pacers.
The Indianapolis Pacers. We all have them kind of going in the same realm, a 2-3 idea, because you look at their situation right now. Obviously, Oladipo's there. They're pretty set at the 4-5 with Sabonis and Miles Turner. And then you look at Bojan, where he's been a good 3-point shooter.
Yeah, he's been a pretty good player.
But, again, you need some youth in there. You need some athleticism. We all kind of went with that idea. I went with Melvin Frazier. You went with Zaire Smith. Ricky, you talk about athleticism. And then Dave went with Keita Bates-Diop. We all thinking that they need some outside shooting and some athleticism here?
Exactly. And like this team to me, you're in the East. You're not going to get a player here that is a LeBron James type player. Duh, that's a hot take there. But the thing is, you can add a guy that can help you. You're in the playoffs. You'll be a playoff team next year if your team continues the progression that they were on this year. And a guy who can shoot, be athletic from the outside, can maybe help you win if you don't get paired up against the Cavs in the first round.
Yeah.
I mean, if Zaire Smith's there, that would be a really cool fit for them, because him and Oladipo both have that more physical style to them. They could pair up well. I think that'd be sweet for me. I'm going scoring. I'm going Keita Bates-Diop. I think that this is a guy who can stroke it from the outside, who can absolutely be the guy who can run a second unit and keep that offense rolling.
That's pretty big there. I mean, you think he's going to be able to keep that offense rolling in the NBA?
At the second unit level. I'm just saying.
So he's off the bench.
Yeah, because you still got Bojan. I think that's the idea.
I mean, that's big there for Keita Bates-Diop to be running the offense, though.
Not keeping the scoring going. This is a guy who can put balls into buckets, or baskets into buckets, as I said earlier.
Baskets into buckets.
I don't like. I think
Is he not a guy who can just take the ball and go?
I think he's just more of a well-rounded guy. I don't think he's more of that scorer. I mean, he did that in Ohio State, but
that's the thing.
I see him more being more of a secondary player and more of helping defensively due to his athleticism and length.
I mean, I don't know he has good size. I just think that because of where he was at the end of his time at Ohio State, being the scorer on that team, I think it could transition into early on in his career being the scorer off the bench for this Indianapolis Pacers team.
Mm-hmm. I'm going with Melvin Frazier because I don't know about scoring for Melvin Frazier, but he's going to bring athleticism. He's going to bring the ability to shoot from the outside. He's going to bring quickness, and he's going to bring defense. So it's pretty much the same thing, but I think he's more of a fit at that 3 spot or possibly even that 2 spot. And float between him and Depot. I think that Melvin Frazier could be a really nice pick there. He's an okay free throw shooter, and he was pretty inconsistent shooting from the outside at Tulane. But looking at him, looking at his build, looking at his speed, I think that he can be some guy that would really interest Indianapolis because you look at the Oladipo athleticism. You look at Miles Turner, how big of an athlete he is.
Yeah.
They like their athletes. Paul George was a great athlete as well. I think you can totally see them exploding that. Lance Stevenson, I think they like their athletes. Melvin Frazier could be a guy that really fits that mold and turn into a stud because I think he's got a ton of athleticism on his side. If he comes more consistently a better three-point shooter, I think he can be a guy that can really be a steal at 20. But now we're going to get into the fun part. We're going to talk about the prospects that we absolutely love. Ricky, I'm going to give it off to you now.
This isn't a prospect that I love. This is more of a prospect in this range that I wanted to get your guys' opinions on something because, as I mentioned earlier, Brandon and I last week did our big board for the NBA draft, and we talked about Robert Williams. Well, there was a comment from Lee Taylor who said, "Love y'all show, thanks Lee, but stop the Robert Williams nonsense. Nobody wants a 6'9" power forward with no shot." There were some replies to this. The knowledge seeker said he's a center, not a power forward.
True.
Anybody who plays him at the power forward would be stupid to do so.
True.
Lee goes, nobody's winning anything with a 6'9" center with no shot. You can get that in the G League or the vet minimum. What do you guys think with that? Because with me, yeah, he's got no shot, but what Robert Williams brings on the, not just defensively, but just that how aggressive he is.
Intensity.
Going after, he's a true, like Brandon said, true 50-50 guy for loose balls.
Okay. Let's stop this real quick, okay? Let's look at the Warriors center. Does Zaza have a shot?
No.
Let's look at the Rockets center. Does Clint Capella have a shot?
Nope.
No. Let's look at the Cleveland Cavaliers center. Do they have one?
Nope.
No. When they won a ring, who was it?
Nope.
Who was it?
Nope.
Who was their center when they...
Kevin Love.
TT.
It was TT. TT was their center when they won a ring.
Yep.
TT doesn't have a shot. He doesn't have anything.
Or Perkins, because they usually sign him.
But I'm saying when they won a ring. You guys, are you fucking deaf?
No,
when the Cavs won a ring, who was their center? It was TT.
It was
Kevin Love
You
was
guys-
in the game for the play.
TT.
I'm just saying.
Okay, the play, but who started the 7 games mostly for them? It was TT.
I don't know
You're
if
such
you
an
started
asshole.
7 games, to be honest with you.
TT was playing most of those games. That's my point.
That's how he got the
God
contract.
damn it.
He got a contract because he was there for LeBron. They're
Finally,
buddies.
let's look at the Heat. A team that's consistently been there. Hassan Whiteside. Does he have a shot?
Nope.
No. Does DeAndre Jordan have a shot? Jordan have a shot?
But is it...
No. You don't need a shot to be a 5.
But
He's
do-
athletic. He can run the rim,
But
and
do
he's a
people-
fantastic defender.
Do people look at that because of the Joel Embiid, who is a 5, but
Joel
he's got a
Embiid
shot?
is a freak of nature.
I know he's a
a
freak of
defensive
nature.
player of the year candidate. He's an offensive
We're not
player.
yelling
He's
at you.
a monster.
I know.
He's
Dad and I
a
are
guy who
fighting now.
he's a guy
are
who
fighting.
breaks the mold, and that's the thing. Is I agree with you. We had a small discussion about this. We were talking about how all of the best offensive bigs are moving to 4 because you want a pure rim protector at the 5. You don't need a guy who has to go out there and drop to the 3-point line to defend guys. You want someone who can crowd the paint, who can block guys who are driving to the lane, going for that instant contact. That's exactly look at Porzingis, look at Cat, look at all of these bigs who are coming into the league. They're all wanting the 4.
And
Joe's the only one that plays the 5 because they need to play Dario.
They play huge.
They're a massive team.
Also, he's massive.
Yeah, that's the thing is he could probably be a 4 and do it fine, but also he's a great defender, so you're going to be
But
able
their best lineup is with him at the 5 because, you said, they can space out the floor with Dario at the 4.
And then
Ben,
the one
too.
thing,
Massive. What's up?
just to finish it, with Knowledge Seeker then said, and this is the last one, There are plenty of centers who don't have a shot. Gobert, DeAndre Jordan, Whiteside.
Yep.
He said Robert Williams, reminds him of DeAndre Jordan a lot. No shot. Free throw percentage isn't good either. You lob the ball to him and he dunks it. I need to look at his defense more, but I wouldn't take him before 13. 15 to 22 is my range for him.
Hey, Ricky, where did DeAndre Jordan go to college?
He went to Texas A&M.
Texas A&M?
Did he? Really?
Oh, where did Robert Williams go?
Texas A&M.
Oh, there we go. Like, you know,
And where do we all have him going? 15, right at the top of shot. I forgot the commenter's name already. Knowledge Seeker's range, 15 to 22.
Yeah. Again, I think that Robert Williams could be. I've heard this comparison a lot. Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace is a comparison for him. Ben Wallace didn't have a shot, but he was a great defender. This kid's a great athlete. He has a really great knack for just being aggressive, and I love that in a defender. I think he could be a really nice rim runner. Again, for the Wizards, that'd be really nice. Having Bradley Beal and John Wall have a dangerous rim runner and a great rim protector. Hell yeah, with Otto Porter. Sounds awesome. I think that's a great fit for the Wizards. I think Robert Williams, again, he doesn't have that offensive game. You're not drafting for his offense. You're drafting for his defense. And maybe at some point he could develop a shot, but really all you need him to do is run off pick and rolls and just be able to run the rim and grab offensive boards and put up shots. I mean, this kid's such a strong man that he can just grab offensive boards and put it back.
And really, for the Wizards, would you really need him to be your main center with you got Gortat for another year?
Oh, well, we're both going to grumble under our breath over here.
You got Gortat and Ian. Ian's locked out for 3 more years. Well, 2 more.
Ian Mahimi, no.
Jan Mahimi. Killing the boys. But
it's Ian Mahimi, fuck it.
I know. Let's just roll with it. Honestly, I think Robert Williams, good value probably there. And you can, if you go second round, you get a budget guy, someone who I like, Segaba Kanate. I know I destroyed your name. I'm sorry.
Oh, so I can't say Ian, but you can't say Saba Hanamage.
Exactly. But dude's 6'8", incredible athleticism, has a knack for going after people near the rim. Like, there is, I totally agree. I think that is a in-demand position because when you look at the teams, like Sean said, the top teams in the league, they're not focused on landing someone at center who is their offensive machine. That's not how we play the game right now. You want someone who can protect the rim. So guess what?
No more Patrick Ewings of yore.
If Robert Williams can do this with his size, his athleticism, let him. That's perfect fit for a team because you can just focus on offense at the other 4 spots and not worry about that rim.
Well, and we've seen consistently that these teams need a 5. These teams need a 5. So Robert Williams is going to be taken higher than he might even should be because teams need a 5. Teams have that need. So we look at Ricky's right now. Mitchell Robinson goes at 13. Robert Williams goes at 15. Then there's not a center coming off the board until 29 at Brandon McCoy. But you could totally look at the Wolves. Well, they need a 5. I mean,
the whole thing that screws it up is Gafford going back to school.
Yeah, that's the thing. But even Gafford, he would be in top 20 right now. So like that's the thing with like the Wolves. They need a 5 at 22. The Bulls could need a potential future 5 at 23. Like the Lakers you can throw in there at 25. I mean, Zubac's been nice offensively, but he's not that good defensively.
Right.
I mean, you look at all these players. We talked about the 76ers, 26. They need a 5. Like, there's a lot of teams that need a 5 that fit that mold. Robert Williams is going to be taken higher than he probably should be because of the need.
Yep.
So
100% agree.
That's one thing with Robert Williams. Good choice there, Ricky.
Nice, Ricky.
For Robert Williams. We're closing in, so Dave, give us some Jonte Porter talk.
Jonte Porter. This is a kid who no one expected to be the star of this team because guess what? Big Brother is the better player, and all of a sudden,
it's weird to say the injury benefited him.
Oh,
the injury of one benefited the other.
I'd say like it was an awesome story if they got to play together. But let's be honest, like Jonte really got to spotlight this year, and his size, his shot, and his ability to pass have really impressed me. I think he is going to be an awesome addition to the team. I've got him going to the Suns because I think the Suns are going to miss on their picks. So I've got him going 3 bigs. And you'll think I'm crazy for this, but guess what? They drafted 2 power forwards a couple years ago. Both of them questionable still. I think they need to lock this down because you have someone special at the 2. I think they're okay with rolling with Alfred Payton at the 1. I just feel like they need to find their guys to lock up the 4-5.
Yeah, so I just realized you have Eaton, Robinson, and Porter to the Suns.
They're gonna lock up the 4-5 period this year because you know they're gonna have problems developing players.
Yeah,
they're gonna move like Marquise Chris is gonna get traded or some awful shit. Like
the one thing too with that is there's not a point guard that they're missing out on. I would think. That's the thing. Is like
not really.
Anthony Simmons is a combo guard. He's not a 1.
Yeah.
So you're not really missing out on him
to distribute.
And the next 1 isn't really there. Like there's not a true point guard behind those players.
Not that I would invest in at that price bracket.
You'd
because
be reaching for
with.
like Jalen Brunson would be the one, but you'd be reaching.
Yeah, he's a guy who is like a great
leader.
Great person, great leader, but I don't want him out there as my star player because of value. Like you said, go get him in second. He could be there still.
Yeah, and especially with the Suns, they're going to be having a high-end second round.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was weird first seeing 3 big men for the Suns, but I understand your backing. It is the Suns. And finally, the one I'm talking about. Oh, also, real quick, the Ringer put out the Ringer draft guide. So they had 3 guys: Danny Chow, Kevin O'Connell, and Jonathan Tjarks. Put out their top 30. I think it's Danny Tjarks, or is it Jonathan Tjarks? Jonathan Tjarks. Jonathan Tjarks had Jonte Porter at 9 overall.
Yeah, he's a unique talent. I think people are underrated him.
So, and you said wow. So, is he top 10 worthy?
At this point,
let's put it this way: with my big board, I had him at 21.
You a hater.
That's where I had him.
I mean, but why did you have him there? What do you think the biggest negative of a guy like Jonte Porter?
For me, it was he wasn't on my big board in 2.0, so he was coming into my big board, and there are just so many other guys. There are like 20 other guys that I would rank over him. Obviously, because he's a 21.
That's how it works.
Like that's how a big board works. But that's really it.
Ricky Widmer for you, everybody.
In-depth analysis of Ricky Widmer. I got 20 guys better than him. That's how I said 21.
Really 19 because the Gafford news didn't come out until after we recorded that. But
Sean, what a gem question.
Robert Williams. I wouldn't put him over Robert Williams. Wouldn't put him over Lonnie Walker, Wendell Carter, Shea, anyone we've talked about.
I don't need you to go through the list. I was just asking about a negative for Jonte Porter. I look at a kid who's 6'11" and can't grab a fucking board. He doesn't have over 7 points a game. Yep. That's a huge negative for him. And I like his ability to stretch the floor. And when you have a guy like DeAndre Ayton or you have a guy like Mitchell Robinson who could turn into a good rebounder.
Come on, you're saying over 7. He averaged 9.9 points, 6.8 rebounds. You're just hating on the 7 number. You're just throwing the 7 number just to piss people off.
Okay, well, even if he had 7 rebounds, it's not good for a 6'11" kid.
I mean,
it's not, that's what I'm saying.
It's not good, but if you watch where he plays on the court, it sort of makes sense why he does. It's no offense, but I know Brook Lopez is a different guy, but it's a big who's not near the basket. And the same thing with Pau Gasol. It's the same thing with there's a lot of bigs who are not known. Al Horford can't grab a rebound to save his fucking life.
Yes, but Al Horford's also a beautiful passer.
But 6.8 boards is not bad, and that's about the same range.
But Jonte Porter isn't the same passer Al Horford
he's not.
is. Or
he's not
same with Pau Gasol. Or Brook Lopez.
I'm just giving you examples of bigs who stretch, who don't have that, who all have that same commonality.
But it's something that I think it limits his upside. So saying he's a top 10 player and he can't rebound. Come on.
Can't is strong. 6.8 is still okay. Rebound. Not great.
He's not a great rebounder. Especially for his size, he should be a better rebounder. Let's be honest.
He's 6'11", he's only 240.
Final guy I want to talk about is Colin Sexton. Going back to the Ringer draft guide, because they just put it out. Jonathan Tjarks has Colin Sexton at 19. And we look at Danny Chow and Kevin O'Connor. They have him around 12 and 13. I have Colin Sexton going to 11. And one of the negatives they list is that Colin Sexton might be too aggressive. Might be too wild. Might be too much of a loose cannon. Wasn't really finding
wild card bitches.
Wasn't finding his teammates wild enough. Was taking bad shots. But look at that Alabama team. That Alabama team wasn't that good.
He didn't have a team around him.
Colin Sexton was the team, and he had some decent players out there. Their starting 5 wasn't terrible, much better than Oklahoma's.
But it was basically him and Avery.
Yeah, that's the thing is
him and his coach.
I mean, there was other players. They had some guys who could shoot from the outside, but Colin Sexton has what you need in a point guard. He has that ability to be the guy.
He's Brondo. He's got what you need.
I think he's got a little bit Brody in him. The thing that he is the guy. I think he's got the mentality of he's not afraid to take that last shot. He's not afraid to drive to the basket. He's not afraid to take over a game. And yes, that might be a detriment, but I'd rather have that guy who's trigger shy. I want a guy who's going to be able to go out there and dominate a game. And you look at the Hornets. If they're getting rid of Kemba Walker had that it factor. He had that I'm the guy. This is my team. Maybe a little bit less pulled back because Kemba Walker was a super quiet
actually
kid.
Won things though, in college.
Better
I'm just
coach
saying.
and better team.
I'm just saying.
Jim
in college,
Calhoun was a
actually
legend.
won things.
All right,
And he
come
also
on.
had a better UConn team.
That's what I said. I
guys
just said
around-
better
I
coach
know,
and
I'm
better
just
teams.
I'm reaffirming it because he had a better team.
Colin Sexton, though, is also a monster. And Colin Sexton deserves more respect because I feel like he doesn't. So Colin Sexton, I think he could be a top 10 player. If I was doing a big board, he'd be in my top 10. I just think Colin Sexton is being underrated. I think he could be a huge steal.
Let's hear what Ricky has.
I had him at 9.
You did?
And then now you guys in front of
And
Mark.
Brandon had him at 11.
Yes, that's about right.
I like that.
And again, the Hornets fit's perfect. I think that's exactly. We're all thinking Kemba's done because they've pissed him off.
Just saying, don't sleep on Colin Sexton.